Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our Lucha Underground review.
And before we even get into our Lucha Underground review, I want to thank everybody that has watched, commented, and or liked our AAA Lucha Libre World Cup video. And the only reason I waited until this video to do it is because Lucha Libre World Cup and Lucha Underground are way more closely related than Raw and the Lucha Libre World Cup. But yes, everybody listening to this that also listened to the Lucha Libre World Cup live reactions, thank you so much. We are getting such a great response on those videos as far as just people flocking to it. I believe that the combined view count between the two is over 4,000, now closing in on 5,000. And the only real negative is that we are just getting a crap ton of dislikes. I'm assuming from people who think that we actually uploaded the Lucha Libre World Cup show to YouTube, because some guy actually came out and basically told us to kill ourselves because, oh, well, this isn't the Lucha Libre World Cup, and that's what people care about. They don't care about your reactions. Well, apparently, some people do care about our reactions, and apparently that number is growing pretty exponentially because the reactions and the view count and the even the likes. I know there are a lot of dislikes, but we haven't had a ton of thumbs up in the history. We had, the one Lucha Underground video we uploaded where they gave us the shout out 24 likes, but that's because those are people that have been with us for a while and that know how awesome that is and how much we appreciate that. But other than that, to get 18 likes on a video is pretty crazy for our channel. It's a pretty high number. But you know what, though? Like I said, almost 3,500 likes on the one video, almost 800 on the other. Amazing reception. The dislikes are irrelevant because those are people that came here looking for something different and were dissatisfied because they couldn't find it, looking for something illegal and dissatisfied they couldn't find it. And that's all despite the fact that we literally have the words live reactions both in the thumbnail of the video and in the title. So the people that are disliking those videos, guys, just ignore them. I had one little discourse with a guy and it absolutely led nowhere. So I learned my lesson. Learn my lesson. Learn from me. Don't make the same mistake that I did and engage these people. Just ignore them. To keep supporting us, just keep thumbsing up these videos to make sure that the like to dislike ratio is a little bit more representative of our product than what it currently is. But again, thanks to everybody for the awesome response. Again, just want to emphasize, I think it's like 4,200 views now is what they're at. Easily the two fastest growing videos in the history of this channel. Thank you again. It was a great show. And now let's get to Lucha Underground.
Absolutely. I mean, I just want to say very quickly before that, though, my little addendum, guys, thank you so much. We have been blowing up lately. Content's been insane. We've got the best fan base in the world, and now we know...
Oh, and by the way, we got a little bit of a shout-out on the last Real Heels podcast, so shout-out to those guys as well. They're awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you to everybody that's been promoting us, watching us, everything. Again, you guys are the best. You're why we are so hot right now, and we freaking love you for it. But we know why you came here. You didn't come here for the love and the hugs. You came here...
Maybe a little. Maybe a little.
Maybe a little. Everybody likes a good snuggle. But why they really came here was they wanted us to talk about the violence and the mayhem that is this temple.
I mean, we've had a grave consequences match. We've had Aztec Warfare, but there's never been a more violent episode than this episode of Lucha Underground.
I will say right now, I don't know if we've ever had this category before, Ashton, so even if we haven't, though, I'm still going to say it just to kind of drive the point home. If we, for our year-end awards, had a Rivalry of the Year kind of award,
Feud of the year, brother. Feud of the year.
I'm telling you right now, the front runner is Muertes and Fenix.
Yeah, for sure.
These guys, oh my god. And that's not even all. I mean, we had that match, the death match, which was insane. We got to see Mundo work his first match in a more heelish style, and I personally love it. I'm more curious to hear about Ashton's views because he's more, reserved and calm about it than I am, of course, being the mark. And the cinematic nature of this program, we got one of the best scenes because of how far they took it. that I have ever seen thus far in Lucha Underground because I just did not expect it to go that far.
Yep.
Lucha Underground, I think, really pushed the envelope tonight, dude.
I was just going to say pushing the boundaries. You said pushing the envelope. We're linked up, brother.
Absolutely. And here's the
Oh,
thing.
and by the way, for those of you that hadn't noticed, I'm starting to pick up on Vampiro's speaking mannerisms, so I apologize if I take the brother over the top.
Yeah.
He even brought it up tonight. He even mentioned that there was a drinking game where you drink every time he says brother, but don't try that because you will be dead.
I love how self-aware everybody is on this show.
Every time I hear somebody say, oh, let's play this drinking game, all I hear is slow form of suicide that can be enjoyable occasionally.
Yeah, really. And you know what the thing is, though, before we get into our first formal segment, I just want to say about the cinematic ending and the matches tonight. The physicality and the violence, I never felt like it was too much. I never felt like it was violence for violence's sake. You know what I mean?
No. All the physicality was there for a reason.
And see, like, this isn't a diss at the old school ECW, but I always felt like they kind of did violence a lot of time for violence's sake.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I mean, even if you want to look at WWE nowadays, like, you have the Hell in a Cell and the TLC and the Extreme Rules, and none of them really, I mean, first of all, none of them really go that extreme. But when they do, it doesn't really seem like there's a good reason for it to happen. I would say this past year's Hell in a Cell with Ambrose and Rollins was a really good example of when it could have gone to the extreme, but it didn't really go as extreme as it should have. But most of the time, it's just kind of, oh, people like these gimmick matches, so let's give them to them once a year. But no, Lucha Underground's like, we're going to make our gimmick matches really freaking mean something, and it's paid off beautifully.
It has, because it's woven into the narrative, and that is so smart. But with that said, let's get right into our first segment, Heat of the Night. And I'll tell you what, this show may have been on fire, but I ain't got any complaints tonight. 0 heats of the night tonight, 0 nitpicks. I think this show did everything right from a narrative standpoint and a wrestling standpoint. I am so looking forward. Like I say it every week, I'm looking forward to the next week. And this week achieved that yet again. Excellent job.
I have no heats of the night, and my only nitpick is I wish they would have timed their last commercial break better.
You know what?
I think I understand why they did it, because they wanted to kind of like create this illusion that Fenix is trapped in that room, just like laying there knocked out for so long. But at that same time, you literally come back from commercial for the Disciples of Death, which is easily the badassiest name I've ever heard in wrestling, to carry Fenix into the ring. Muertes hits his finisher, and then that's over. That's it. It's over.
I feel like the commercial break was a bit ill-timed. Again, like...
You know what I think would have been cool for the commercial break to be? When Mil Muertes was going up the stairs.
Yeah.
Because then he goes up the stairs and it leaves you like, oh my God, what's going to happen? We need to stay tuned in. This is ridiculous. And then he goes over, he does the power bomb, and then you get a little bit more time to take it all in. He goes down to the ring and he starts posing, and the Disciples of Death do the thing where they knock down the door and carry Fenix in. And then it might not seem quite as devastating, because then you don't have the entire how many, like 2 or 3 minutes of commercial time between hitting the move and him getting carried to the ring. But I think that they could have dragged it out just enough without making it last too long that would have made it a better timed commercial break.
I do have to agree with you, because I feel like after the power bomb, you know, they really had an atmosphere there.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you do a commercial break, it takes you out of it just briefly. Now, to Lucha Underground's credit, with the performers involved, I was easily taken back in when they came back.
For sure.
But, you know, not everybody, I think, could
that's
be
why
that way.
That's why I think, though, that it would have been better served if it would have been while he was walking up the stairs, because then you get that sense of anticipation. Like, oh my God, why would they cut away from this exact moment? He's going up the stairs. What's he thinking? Are they going to go over to Cueto's office? What's he going to do? And then you come back and it's like, all right, let's do this. And then he does that. And the emotional devastation hits even harder because you don't have time to process it.
God, there is so much I want to say right now, but we got to get to the respective segments. So if that's your only nitpick, do you want to get right into the review?
Get into it, bro.
All right, here we go. Our Lucha Underground review. And if you want to know why I'm amped up, it's because our opener... Now, we did miss the first minute or two of this, so we don't know if there was a cold open or a cinematic open.
We're kind of assuming it was a cold open because we only missed the first, 90 seconds. And for us to have only missed the first 90 seconds, and when we actually got to watching it, it was already starting on the Mundo Aero Star match. You got to assume that those first 90 seconds were recap and entrances.
Exactly. So, and as Ashton said, it was Johnny Mundo versus Aerostar. Johnny Mundo's first matchup as a heel since throwing Alberto El Patron through Dario Cueto's window.
But what I love there, right there, I'm going to stop you just because it's his first match, but it's not the first time we've seen him because they gave him a week of no matches, sit down interview with Vampiro, explained himself. Now he's in action. Now we know to hate him. Now we know why we can hate him, and everything just gels so much better.
It really does. And I gotta say, I enjoyed it. In fact, here's the thing though, in all honesty, if I had one nitpick, but then again, I am used to it from his first heel run, so I could easily get past it. I do
Different
wish
finisher?
different finisher and
I
tone down on
knew
the
it,
high
yeah.
flying just a little bit.
You know what, though? Here's my thing. He was using a lot of submissions in this match, or at least trying to.
Yeah.
That was nice to see because he's not really known for as a submission wrestler. So it was cool to see him. I mean, he completely changed his style for this match on everything but the finisher.
Yeah, and see, that's why I think I wanted that change too, because what I would love, and now we're getting kind of into fantasy booking territory, I know, but when he gets into his rematch with Patron, I'd like to see him have an answer to the cross arm breaker with a submission of his own. Not saying I want a submission match between these two, but I want to
Yeah,
see
I mean,
Mundo,
I guess my thing is, I don't think that just because you're a heel, now suddenly you need to use a submission finisher.
not necessarily a submission finisher, but I just think high flying finishers. I don't know. I think that pops the crowd too much, and I think you kind of want to avoid that if you're a heel. You know,
But
I don't.
I will make the argument, though, that even though it is a quote-unquote high-flying finisher, I would argue that Mundo's finisher is one of the least high-flying of all the high-flying finishers, because he's not jumping off the top rope. It's just
Yeah.
split-legged, like, springboard thing.
Yeah. And again, like when he was, John Morrison ECW heel in '07, Palace of Wisdom.
Moonlight
I mean,
Drive.
that was, his thing. Moonlight Drive. If he would bring that back as like the dominant finisher, I wouldn't mind that either.
I wish he wouldn't have been using this whole time that running knee strike, because that's such a perfect heel finisher.
Oh, right, though, because it just jacks the jaw straight up.
Yeah.
But, I mean, other than the finisher, which, again, it was a nitpick, I love that he changed his whole style here. I loved Matt Striker's commentary. Never thought I'd say that, huh?
Maybe he does like a running knee strike, and then as the guy is laying there, he does a standing double stomp.
Yeah, something like that.
Or like a standing jumping double knees to the chest.
See, yeah, that would work. That would work. But I love the ground and pound game. I love the takedowns, the punches, just how vicious he was. How he kind of worked over the leg towards the tail end to get the end of the world. He got stopped at one point by Aerostar going for the end of the world.
Oh,
And then
that
he
was
takes him to
such
the
a
third.
great moment.
Yeah, it just beats the crap out of him.
Yeah, like, you are not gonna stuff my finish, kid. Now lay down.
Yeah, see, and you know what? He did so well in this performance as a heel. Like, I am salivating for Patron Mundo 2 in Lucha Underground. Like, I can't wait. I even told you, going back to the Lucha Libre live reactions, and again, thanks again to everybody who listened, like, I want that win bad. It's getting to, like, Rock Austin points where, like, I just want to see Mundo one-time pin Patron, and seeing him do that heel work.
What if he submits Patron?
I would freak the fuck out. Don't even, like, put that in the universe. But it works, even despite my... And I think it says a lot about me, the Ultimate Mundo Mark, even making a nitpick. I liked how he changed his style. I can't wait to see him wrestle going forward. And I hope this really does, because commentary even noted, like, him being a nice guy was the only thing stopping him from the world title. Yeah. God, I hope you're right. I really do, because this was awesome. But I know from the Mark's point of view, I was looking forward to, hearing you. So you loved everything that Johnny did here? I mean, would you give any pointers in future matchups? Like, what did you think of everything?
Oh, dude, I absolutely love the way he worked this match. I think it's so impressive that he was able to just completely change his style, because he's always been this super flashy, like, going for signature moves and signature offense all the time with the flying chuck and the knee to the face and the moonlight drive, and he still hit one or two of those, but you could tell he wasn't trying really to, like, set up for those moves specifically. Like, he just hit them when it was the most beneficial to him, and like ground and pound style, and he went for a few submission attempts, and I really love that he just completely changed his style for this. And again, I'm with you. I think that the only thing that needs to go is the end of the world, and maybe even keep that name, because that is a badass name for a finisher. but when you're doing it, when you're just doing a corkscrew split-legged moonsault, it looks so cool. It's so hard to boo something like that. Whereas if it was some kind of a really vicious kick or a knee strike or something, some kind of strike, like I'm thinking of Sheamus, because Sheamus is one of the few top heel workers in WWE who doesn't have a submission finisher, and like he's got this gigantic kick that just comes out of nowhere, and it's not super kick exciting, but it looks just devastating. And I want Johnny Mundo to kind of try and get something like that as a finisher. But again, maybe they're keeping the end of the world, the Starship Pain finisher, for the sake of consistency.
Yeah, that's probably because it's funny because with Mundo I'd even say, well, maybe they want to do a super kick, but like everybody does a super kick, so I wouldn't
Right.
want him to do that. Like, well,
I was even thinking maybe like an axe kick or a spinning heel kick, something different.
yeah,
But then
just
again,
yeah.
you've got to think like everybody in Lucha Underground does every kind of kick.
You know what I would love him to have, and what I've wanted Mundo to have for years, and I think would be opportune now that he's a heel. I want him to have a finisher that's RKO-esque, where he can hit it out of nowhere. Because I don't
Well,
even feel
that's
like
kind of
normally
what we're
Travis
both
like that.
driving at a little bit, though, is
Right.
some kind of a strike or
Instantaneous.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because they could always explain it as even though he is changing up his style, he's just becoming more efficient. But the one thing that's always worked is when he hits it, the end of the world, he's always gotten pins off of, except for
Right.
obviously against frickin' Rey Mysterio at the Lucha Libre World Cup.
But great stuff there nonetheless. Aerostar did get some offense. Like we just completely didn't even talk about him. But yeah, I mean we knew first match as a heel for Johnny Mundo, it was gonna be a win. And I love that he did a Roman Reigns hair flip too in this match too, because I think he got some offense on Aerostar. He's like, wait, God, just the hair, peanut butter and Johnny, bringing it back. And so yeah, I dig it, I dig it. But anyway, I got nothing else to say about this match. So if you want to move on, we can.
All right, up next, we had a Vampiro sit down interview with Sexy Star going over her feud with Pentagon Jr. At one point, he basically kind of asks her if she's concerned, and she kind of just straight up says, "Why are you asking? Are you only asking me that because I'm a girl? Like, would you ask me that same question if I was a guy?" And he pretty much lays it out like, "I'm just worried because I think Pentagon Jr. is a psychopath. So yes, I probably would regardless of your gender, I would probably ask you if you're worried about him because he's breaking guys' arms, and you're sitting here, and I don't care if you're male or female, you're a really small person, and like, yeah, it makes sense that he would be worried. So for the first time, somebody calls someone else out for something borderline sexist, and it's not at all sexist.
Yeah, and you know what, too? What I love about this, in hindsight, and maybe I'm trying too hard to make a connection, but after that cinematic ending we got tonight, that pretty much confirms to me that Pentagon could make a sacrifice in that ring, and nothing would happen to him. If anything, Dario Cueto would probably make him #1 contender for the world title. So, yeah, Sexy Star is legitimate reason to be concerned. I don't know why she isn't, because,
Yeah,
yeah, that behavior is totally going to be enabled. But yeah, I mean, the sit down interview was great. I love that they've put Sexy Star. I mean, really, since she showed up, in these kinds of positions. I've said it once before. I'll say it again. I think she is being primed to be the first woman, to win the Lucha Underground World Title and to be in that kind of spot just in general in pro wrestling. And we know that she's going to be taking on, I assume, next week, Pentagon Jr. in a submission match. To me personally, I would give Pentagon the win here. I feel like, my one problem with Sexy Star has been that I feel like maybe she wins a little too often, even though they are like those hiccup wins. It's not like she ever really dominates. But I
right.
think to really garner that sympathy and to rally behind her, because I love her message, right? And she even said in the interview, if I can get one woman to stand up and say, I'm not afraid, I'm not going to be intimidated, this and the other, I think that's amazing. And it's so apropos given our social climate with issues, involving women and things like that. So it's a great character. But I feel like, that sympathy still needs to be there. That struggle still needs to exist. So if Pentagon Jr. takes out Sexy Star and Sexy Star was able to come back from that and still not be broken by it, I think that's as inspiring as you get. So I'm actually hoping Pentagon Jr. gets the win next week so that A, it gets him a lot of heat, B, gets him back in good graces with his master, because you can't imagine that the relationship is good, and C, for the Sexy Star character, you build that sympathy, and then the comeback is huge, and then her triumph will be even bigger, and then I could really buy her in that world title picture. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for next week.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about it, or do you want to move on?
No, I just really I love how direct and to the point Vampiro is on these sit down interviews. He's so good.
Oh yeah, I love that he like doesn't ham it up. Like he just gets straight to the heart of the matter.
Vampiro has kind of wedged himself into my list of favorite wrestling personalities.
Me too. Yeah, I love how he works, and you know
I
what?
mean,
I feel like
whether it's commentary or these sit down interviews, he's just great.
He doesn't like if he has his like face moments. I would really kind of describe Vampiro as a tweener behind the desk, and
I
whether
don't
he's
think
doing
I would use any of those terms to describe him. He just calls it the way he sees it, man.
yeah, and I think that's what works though because he doesn't cut the heels any slack.
I
He
think
doesn't
he,
cut
I
the
mean, he
babyface any
does
slack.
lean a little bit towards the heel side just because typically the heel characteristics are do anything that you can to win, regardless of whether it's moral or not. And he kind of leans towards that, but still, like, he's more just logical than anything.
Yeah, and it works though because
It's great.
and you know what? I feel like maybe this is what I've been looking for from commentary and segments like this because too often I think commentators. I mean, Michael Cole with his sit-down interviews and stuff, which I love, by the way, for the record. I do think that's a great thing that he does. But they always try and have personalities, and they always try and have a certain agenda. Like Michael Cole's a babyface now, so when he's interviewing heels, maybe he'll be more aggressive, like, "Oh, why did you do that to this babyface? And don't you feel bad or this and that?" Vampiro doesn't care about that. He just wants to get to the bare bones of everything, no matter who you are. And I think that works because announcers should never be the show. They should always be relaying the show to the general audience. And I feel like Vampiro does such a great job of that. And yeah, this interview with Sexy Star, she came off great. We've got a submission match next week. And I'm sure he'll just call it like he sees it there too, even if Sexy Star does get her arm broken, which is a very legitimate possibility. So we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. All right, dude. Here we go. Match of the night by far. We have our Lucha Underground Championship match, Prince Puma taking on Hernandez. And I'm going to go ahead and say it. I mean, I've been at least aware that Hernandez was a thing for close to a decade. This is the best match I've ever seen him in.
Oh, without question. Why this guy, when he was in TNA, wasn't working singles as a heel the whole time because I think he was predominantly babyface in singles.
Well, yeah, and I even remember he had a feud with Matt Morgan where he worked singles as a babyface and against Matt Morgan, and I just whatever.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I
I don't
always
get.
felt like Matt Morgan had more of a babyface, and you would want him to be the good guy, but against Hernandez, no. Hernandez is doing his babyface shtick where he does the flying shoulder block over the top rope and that kind of crazy stuff. But this was brilliant. Good Lord, he's a monster.
If I've given credit to WWE for how at times they book guys like Luke Harper or Rowan and those bigger guys,
See, and I don't think
then
that's even their call. I think that's just the performer.
the performer taking it on themselves.
Yeah.
Regardless,
Because I
though,
don't think if Luke Harper is going against a say I don't know a Sheamus, I guess Sheamus is a bad example. Okay, so say an R-Truth. I don't think that WWE is necessarily getting in Harper's ear or one of their road agents are saying, "Hey man, anytime he hits you, make sure you don't fall down. Make sure
right.
and when you do fall down, make sure you get up way faster than most people." That's just him. That's just how he works. Because if that
Right.
was WWE telling him to do that, you would think that they would tell the same thing to Mark Henry, Big Show, Kane, Eric Rowan, all these big guys.
And I love, though, that Lucha Underground, their big men are so on point.
Yeah.
I don't think I've
And the
ever had
crazy thing is, their big men aren't even that big. They're just big relative to regular human beings.
Yeah, and yet they
You look
still
in
work like sausages.
WWE, and their big men are 6'7", 6'8", 6'10", 7 feet. You look at Lucha Underground, and their big men are 6'1", 6'4", 6'5". Their average height for pro wrestlers, but way above average height for just regular human beings, which still makes them larger than life in their own sense.
Definitely. Like the only time I felt like WWE was ever great at booking a monster character, in my opinion, outside of the Attitude Era, because I didn't grow up then, would have been when the Great Khali first arrived on the scene, but that went away so quickly. Whereas Lucha Underground, they know how to book dominance with their big guys, and boy was Hernandez ever dominant. I mean, holy crap, this man, and he's not even. And the crazy thing is, and why I love it so much. Hernandez doesn't even conform to, I don't want to use the word stereotype, but it's the only word coming to me, where he's like that undead character or this brute. Like, he is just a guy that grew up, in a rough part of town. Conan knows him, LAX, that really violent part, and he's just like a bigger dude, right? Like, he has no abnormal characteristics or supernatural characteristics, and yet he just imposes his will on everybody, and that's what I love about it. Like, this guy isn't an out of the realm kind of character. He's totally within the parameters of reality, and yet he's still this dominant. I think that's why I really love Hernandez so much, and the arrogance he has about it. Like that fall away slam he does where he rocks you like you're a mere child.
I know, and the great thing about it in this match was it's not like Prince Puma was completely out of it. He was punching the crap out of Hernandez, and he just no-sold it.
Hernandez's offense was pretty much the Roman Reigns equivalent of, it's irrelevant, because everything Puma tried to do, it did not matter.
And then
After
tonight, there is no match right now that I want more than Hernandez versus Muertes.
Yes. I mean, dude, let's just call it like we see it, right? Since we're talking about the match this way and not taking it bullet point by bullet point. There was a point in this matchup where Hernandez goes for a dive to the outside.
Yes.
And Puma has a steel chair because Conan made a distraction. So at first it kind of confused me a little bit. I'm like, okay, well, Conan's actually made his allegiances known. He's not going with Hernandez, which I will say shocked the hell out of me a little bit because I really was anticipating a backstabbing. So good on you, Lucha Underground. But is Puma turning heel? What's going on? And you know what I love about it? Those questions were so irrelevant within 5 minutes because Puma hits the chair shot, and you think, oh, is Puma going to take the count out victory? Has Conan finally really gotten into his ear?
Yeah, dude, but that's the thing. Hernandez was on his feet by 6.
Exactly, by 6, not by 9, and he just
not by 8.5.
Yeah, freaking 6, people.
Yeah.
And he's back. And then not only that, he proceeds to dominate yet again.
Yeah, because then friggin' Puma comes back out of the ring and proceeds to get, what's it called? Border tossed into the ring apron. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And then Hernandez is feeling so happy about what he just did that he starts doing his little strut with his arms in front of himself.
I love it, dude. I love that this guy...
He's so good!
Not only did he eat a steel chair, he ate it while doing an aerial maneuver, so you have to imagine, like, the impact and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I can think of is Shawn Michaels super kicking Shelton Benjamin.
Yeah, exactly.
That exact spot might not have hurt as much as this one did. And that led to a pinfall. This led to a 6 count on the outside, and then a border toss on the apron. And then a strut, for God's sakes.
And then a strut. And then when they get back in the ring, what did Puma nail? Like a springboard 450 or something? And it didn't even really get a full 2 count.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. Yeah, I was freaking out because, like, normally when you think 2 count, you think 1, 2, kick out. But no, this was 1, kick out.
Yeah. It took everything, and that's not hyperbole. In this one case, I'm going to stand by that. I don't think it's hyperbole at all to say it took everything from Prince Puma to get the win here.
Oh, yeah. Because, well, that's the thing, too. And then he went for the 630, and Hernandez just straight up rolled out of the way.
Yeah. And then he plants Puma down with some kind of maneuver. That only gets a 2 count. And then they're just fighting, like, on the top rope towards the end. Puma's positioned on the top rope. Hernandez charges towards Puma twice. He gets kicked in the head twice, and it took either 2 kicks or 3 kicks to take him fully down. Are you kidding? Like, he ate so many kicks. There was another point, like, earlier in the matchup where Puma was doing this sequence of kicks, and it took that whole sequence just to get Hernandez off his feet, because he was either on one knee or both knees or whatever. It took forever to get Hernandez down at so many points in this matchup. They booked Hernandez perfectly, and by booking Hernandez perfectly and giving Puma the pinfall win, how freaking great does that make Puma look?
Yeah.
Because now who's going to stop him, really? And I asked that about a guy, and this is no offense to Prince Puma at all. If anything, like, I love it because Puma, again, he isn't this brick wall. He isn't this guy that's just going to go and impose his will whenever he wants.
And I think what's really great about him, too, is that he's not like this John Cena character, where he gets absolutely dominated for an entire match, and then boom, 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 3 moves of doom, comeback, win.
Yeah.
It's so back and forth in every match with him. And, like, it's not like they even try and make his offense look super insanely powerful either. Because it took, dude, there was a sequence towards the end of this match where he hit 1 kick, and then Hernandez he hit 1 kick while Hernandez was sitting on his butt, still sitting up, and it barely even phased him. Like, he sold it like he was woozy, but he stayed sitting up. And then he started crawling forward, and Puma hit him with another kick, and he was still on his hands and knees. And then he hit him with this huge kick to the back of the head. And that's what finally took him down. But then Puma went up to the top rope, and Hernandez recovered quickly enough to go after him again.
Hernandez.
And it took two more kicks to the head just to get Hernandez down long enough to hit the 630.
Yeah. And honestly, like, you've done a good job when I actually even had to ask myself, is that really going to be it? Because at that point, I wouldn't have even been shocked if Hernandez had kicked out or gotten his foot on the rope after the 630.
I totally agree with you on that. If Hernandez would have kicked out of the 630, I would have been like, okay, let's see what else Puma can do. Because I wouldn't have even flinched. I wouldn't have been like, okay, this is getting a little ridiculous. I mean, I get that Hernandez is a beast, but come on now. No one kicks out of the 630. No, I would have been like, that makes sense. Let's see what else Puma can do to him.
And see, like, at least you afford Puma the respect that there's something else left in the tank, because had he kicked out of the 630, I would have been like, well, it was good while it lasted, wasn't it?
Actually, what I would have done is I would have marked out, because I would have been expecting a double moonsault then.
Yeah, really.
I would have been oh my God, Hernandez kicked out of the 630. We're going to get a double moonsault, John. It's going to happen.
But you know what, though? Again, it makes Puma look fantastic. Commentary here, and I can't believe I'm saying this so much this episode. Either I've been more attentive or they just started doing it, or maybe a little bit of both. But, like, they made it seem like, oh, Puma's such a fighting champion, and there are some critics saying he's defending the championship too much. By him having these matchups and beating guys like Hernandez, whoever beats Puma now, I think is going to be a big deal. And they're only going to become a bigger deal the more Puma wins while he's got that belt. This was a huge win for him in his reign tonight, I think. And you know what? Hernandez was so dominant, and you can't even really say, like, Puma ran away with this victory. Hernandez will probably be getting another title shot down the road. Maybe even we'll hear more about that next week. Hernandez trying to get back in the picture, because I don't think this is done yet. I really don't.
You really don't think this is done yet?
I don't think Hernandez
I don't think that him being in the title picture is done yet, but I think him versus Puma as a specific match for now is going to be done for at least a month.
You know what? You're probably right, and I think I know who our next contender would be, but maybe that should just be cause for us to transition to our next segment then. Because if Hernandez is done, I think I know somebody that'd be more than willing to take his place. What do you think?
Yeah, Muertes going on against Fenix, and they call it a death match, but it's really just like a no disqualification match. Pinfalls and submissions must take place in the middle of the ring. But to me, like, everything about the new version of Muertes is cooler. Like, he's got these contacts in that make him look undead. He's got Katrina coming out. She looks... something's different about the way that she's doing up her face, because it seems a lot more natural. Like, she's doing like the natural makeup look rather than the heavy makeup that she was doing before, and it looks way better, I think. But regardless of that, the Disciples of Death coming out, and these guys, I mean, first of all, like I said earlier, the name is amazing. Second of all, the fact that they're coming out basically wearing wrestling tights, no shirts, and then these like skull masks, like La Parka-esque skull masks. So cool.
I mean, you know what I said about the Disciples. My immediate thought was there's three of them. We've got future trios tag team championship contenders. Like, I could see these guys, this whole gang, running shop pretty soon here, because even taking the focus away from them, which we don't even really know much about them, so we can't do much analysis yet. What we can talk about is Mil Muertes, and my God, he came to murder somebody. Like, if Hernandez was dominant, and believe me, he was dominant, Mil Muertes was just unfreaking stoppable. Like, everything Fenix did, it's almost like none of it mattered. And that's unbelievable. Like, early on, I popped because I think Fenix tried doing a suicide dive or some kind of dive. Muertes catches him with a forearm to the face.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, I know how this match is going to go now. And again, we go back to the point. Lucha Underground knows how to make you believe in a monster. Because, again, I have to go back to WWE, whether it's on the Performer or the Road Agent or, like, whoever does what. They're good at times, but the thing is, it doesn't take long for me to realize, oh, yeah, they're mortal, or they're this, or they're that. With Lucha Underground, they got me, man. They got me, like, how do you stop Mil Muertes?
Yeah.
How do you stop a Hernandez?
I think, to me, the biggest question now has to be, how soon until Mil Muertes targets Puma?
Yeah, and that is the question, because here's the thing.
And when he does, I don't think that Puma is going to be able to stop him.
I don't either. I think
I mean,
Conan,
like
yeah.
Hernandez could be like, guys, I know that we've had our problems in the past. I get it, but this dude is trying to encroach on my monster heel territory, and we need to combine our powers to take him out, and it still wouldn't be enough.
It wouldn't. It wouldn't. This new Mil Muerte, and you know what I
I
love
just
too?
imagine Puma, Conan, and Hernandez all trying to work together to take out Mil Muertes, and Mil Muertes is just like, do you guys know who I am?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
You saw what I was like before, right?
Right.
And you
Yeah.
realize that I'm actually stronger now. Just to be clear, I mean, you do realize that I lost to Fenix before, but then I did that when I came back.
I would love if the conversation was that casual too. Like, so what were you doing just now? We
Yeah,
were
it's just like you've got this epic face off and this crazy music playing and the lights are flashing and you've got this amazing atmosphere. And next thing you know, you hear that CD rap like, and next thing you know, that everything just breaks down and the lights come on and he's just like, guys, really? Come on now.
It's like what were you trying to do there? We were
Trying to beat.
trying to get offense. Trying to get offense. Oh,
That's adorable.
yeah, that's nice. It's kind of my turn though. Does it have to be? Yeah, yeah, it does. And then he just rips the heart out, and it's game over. Like,
Yeah,
Mil Muertes
yeah.
wins. Fatality. Like, just reaches into the chest,
Like,
like,
hey,
hey.
hey, Dario, you saying something about a sacrifice? Yeah. How did the Aztecs used to do that? Oh, they would cut their heart out. Oh yeah. How about if I do that with a fist?
Cueto better keep that key close to his chest, because Mil Muertes better not want to take a backseat to anybody before too long. He better be coming to Dario Cueto and just saying,
Well, I
yeah,
better not make Mil Muertes want the key because I would be afraid that if he would reach for the key, he would penetrate the skin and pull out his heart.
yeah. Look, and here's the thing that we have to not to jump the gun, because I'm not, because I still want to talk about this match. But again, you even said it, and I think you had the line of the night in our conversation when we were talking about this. If this is Mil Muertes and the match before that was Hernandez, what the actual hell is Matanza? Like,
That's the scary question, I think.
scary. It's shit a brick terrifying is what that is. Because, like, again, I love Puma, and you know after Grave Consequences I said, oh yeah, Fenix has to be the number one contender. He has to be. Like, after that match, how can you not put him in the ring, Puma? And Lucha Underground's just like, you really think Mil Muertes is done? You really think a guy associated with death is going to be stopped by being put in a coffin? Think for 2 seconds, and when you actually do, and you see what happened, you're like, oh, so that's a thing. And you just see Mil Muertes commit murder in that ring. There was another point where Fenix, I mean, it was one of the hope spots for Fenix, so to speak, where he got thrown like on the security railing in like the upper section of the audience. He scales it and he does a moonsault all the way off there, and it looked perfect. Absolutely breathtaking, the height, the form, everything. But again, Mil Muertes got up to his feet that quickly. And I loved it. I love that there was no wasted motion on the part of Muertes. And then, of course, the spot where he takes Fenix out to the point where he's got him in the fireman's carry position, carries him up the steps, seems like he's going to throw him off somewhere. Him and Fenix are duking it out, and then ultimately Muertes powerbombs Fenix through that building. I mean, are you kidding me? Like, it was done. And that's when they do take the commercial, which kind of took me out of it just that little bit. But then they come back, Disciples of Death just kick the door down. I love that the ref couldn't get the door open, and the Disciples of Death are like, okay, you know what? We don't get paid by the hour. Come on, guys, let's do this. And they kick the door open, and then Muertes is able to get his hands on Fenix. And then
He's just staring him right in the freaking eyes too. Like that was the creepiest thing. Like I was half expecting him to do the lick of death rather than waiting for Katrina to do it. Like he's just death stare to Fenix while he's holding him up, preparing to put him down.
yeah, he's just staring him in the face. Flatliner, 1, 2, 3. And you know what I loved about this too, and I think it's worth noting? The medallion that Fenix won didn't come into play at all here. So they're not playing, they're keeping their cards close to their chest, and I like that. Because I feel like that's going to play a role in Fenix coming back for more down the line. Now, that may be a few weeks, because, I mean, my God, Muertes just put a hurting on that boy.
Yeah.
But it's going to be, it's going to happen. Whatever purpose those medallions serve, they're going to aid Fenix somehow, some way. But if I'm Prince Puma, I'm not waiting for Fenix to take care of his business. I'm just thinking, oh my God, that's going to be me next. It's got to be. Like, what are we going to do in the interim? Because I just couldn't believe Fenix coming back the next week or whatever for more. I think they are going to kind of reel him back a bit. So, yeah, I would not mind Muertes and Puma kind of locking it up over that world championship. And if they do, how is Puma going to survive? Like, like when you see that, who can stop Mil Muertes? Now this Mil Muertes, I could totally believe kicking out of the 630 because I don't think anybody's done it yet, and it
Dude,
would
I
be
could believe him
gross.
kicking out of the 630 at 1.
Yeah, like that's how dominant he
Like
is right
I think that would be a crazy moment. Like they're having their match, and maybe another moment happens, kind of like with Hernandez tonight, where he hits the springboard 450 and goes for the cover, and yeah, like maybe that takes Mil Muertes to the 2 count, but then like something just clicks in Mil Muertes, and Puma hits the 630, and he's just like, no, this isn't happening, and he does. He kicks out at 1 and just stands up and stares at Puma, and Puma like backs up into a corner, like what happened when Triple H hit friggin' Undertaker with a tombstone, and is just wondering, what the hell am I up against right now?
You know what I would love too, and I'm sure Vampiro would capitalize on it because Conan is so mouthy. If he
Oh
saw
boy.
Puma hit the 630 and Muertes either just sat up or stood up or whatever, Conan's mouth is just agape, and we have the camera zoom in on that because
And
he's
then
such a
Vampiro is
braggart.
just like, for once he's finally speechless.
Exactly, something like that. Because Conan, he's always talking. He's always running his mouth. Oh, Puma, do this, do that.
He
What
seemed
did
a lot cooler this week than last week. Last week he was super aggressive and almost angry. This week it seemed a lot cooler.
Yeah, that's true. So he does kind of vacillate between those 2 points, but let's say whatever kind of week it is, he's always doling out advice and this and that. But that's mortal advice. What do you do when your advice doesn't fit the bill of an abnormal human being? And I think
Yeah.
human being is doing a disservice to Mil Muertes.
Yeah, really.
And Conan just looks at it and he's like, well, yeah, I think this is going to be the last check I collected. I'm out. I'm bouncing. I'm going somewhere else. I'm telling you, I would want them obviously to be built up. I wouldn't want it to come too fast, but I would not have any qualms if the pacing was right. And I mean, look who I'm talking to. Lucha Underground, I think, does so well with their pacing, with their characters and their stories. If the Disciples of Death were trios tag team champions and Mil Muertes was world champion, would not have any qualms about that whatsoever. And considering that Katrina seems to run this operation,
Oh yeah.
I think that would be very interesting for her too, because I mean, obviously she
She might be the
benefits.
most powerful woman in wrestling right now.
She might be. I mean,
From a
look who's.
kayfabe perspective, obviously.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, who could really touch her? If anybody posed a problem to Katrina, she could just sick the Disciples of Death and Mil Muertes on them, and problem solved. Seriously, like that's a terrifying
That's
thought.
crazy to think about, though. Like, I kind of want to see Katrina versus like a Sexy Star or an Evilise, just to kind of see how they would handle her being in the ring. But I don't know if she's ever going to be an in-ring performer. Oh, speaking of in-ring performers, I looked up Lucha Underground's roster on Wikipedia the other day, and they signed freaking cheerleader Melissa.
Oh, nice,
Yeah,
nice. That should be really cool.
that's going to be amazing.
I've heard so many good things about her over the years. Everybody was always saying, "Oh, TNA should do something or this and the other." Glad Lucha Underground got a hold of a talent like that. That's really cool.
Yeah, dude, I can't wait to see what they turn her into, though, because that's the thing. Like, nobody in Lucha Underground right now is what you knew them as before Lucha Underground.
Yeah,
So obviously, she's not going to just maintain the cheerleader Melissa gimmick. I'm so curious as to what they do with her.
it's going to be great. And considering that Lucha Underground has no qualms about, intergender matchups, I could see cheerleader Melissa locking it up with some of the men and, maybe put on some great matches. So I'm
Oh,
excited.
absolutely. I'm pretty sure she already works men sometimes on the indies.
That's great. Hell, maybe if she finds two partners. I mean, the trios tag team division, I'm very curious about what teams are going to emerge in the coming months
Oh,
for
yeah.
those
Well, and
belts.
that's another crazy thing, too, is like we just kind of got over the first major arc of the trios division. What is next for that?
Oh, we may be looking at it in the Disciples of Death. I don't know,
I don't
but
think that they're going to get I don't think they're going to get in the ring anytime soon. Maybe like a month or two out. It's so crazy though, because like we are literally, I think, like 9 weeks away from this season being over. Or no, I underestimated by a month, so it's like 14 weeks away.
right. Oh man, what a great show this has been though. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Like week after week, and we're not even done talking about it yet because really I have nothing more to say about Phoenix Muertes. So do you want to move on to the big, like, cinematic ending here?
And actually, no, I was right. It's literally 2 months and like a week or two out from this season being over, and then we have to wait until almost the end of October. I don't want to wait that long.
I don't want to have to wait that long either.
We're giving ourselves an off season for WWE, and we don't want one from Lucha Underground.
But you know what though? I love that they have an off season, because now, like, look at how much we're lamenting like the impending break.
Yeah, but NXT's never had an off season, and they're an hour-long show, and it's never been an issue. I think Lucha Underground being an hour-long doesn't need an off season like the WWE at 3 hours does.
But they're still taking it, and that
I
anticipation.
know, it's gonna kill us both.
But I love it though, because
especially
then it's
if Ultima Lucha is as amazing as we both think it's going to be.
Dude, I can't even put a card together right now. Isn't that
Dude,
crazy?
And you know what though? It's not really that crazy, because the thing with Lucha Underground is that it is a constantly evolving product. You never know, next week that we could have a random return of like Hernandez, and he could insert himself into the world title picture, and nobody would say anything about it because it's Lucha Underground and they can make anything work.
I know, right? It's so true. Like, you say that, and you say it so matter-of-factly, but you do it because they earned it. Like,
yeah.
I have no reason not to trust this promotion. And to be able to say that, and to be able to say it with sincerity, feels so good.
Yeah.
And again, like, I have nothing else to say about Muertes and Fenix, so to kind of substantiate the point, do you want to talk about the final segment? I mean,
oh my God, yes. Okay. Let me just set the scenario here for you guys. Muertes just destroyed Fenix. Katrina licked his face, and then Muertes, and the Disciples of Death posed over Fenix's unconscious body in the middle of the ring. Cut to Dario Cueto's face, talking to somebody, and then the camera pans over and we see that it's the crew. He says, one of you needs to pay the price, and I'm going to let you choose who that is. So Mr. Cisco looks at Bael. Bael looks at Cortez. Cortez looks back at both of them, and I'm thinking, oh crap, are they going to single out Cortez? I thought he was like the best worker of these three. But no, they single out Bael. And it makes the most sense because he's been with them for the least amount of time. So they both grab him, and he's struggling to get out, and he's freaking out, and he's like, no, you're not going to do this to me. And they both walk up to Matanza's cage, and Cueto tells them to hold his face up to the bars. And you don't actually see anything happen. You just see the blood spatter coming from presumably Bael's face, and maybe even his entire head.
And, you have to wonder. I mean, I'm assuming he's never coming back now, because that was his face.
No, that's a death scene, bro.
Yeah.
Unless Muertes has the ability to revive people, and he revives him.
Yeah. I mean, unless this show literally has something on par with Dragon Balls, I don't see Bael coming back at all.
No.
And this whole thing, like, I never expected that. I never expected, like, the blood to be used, for Matanza to be that animalistic, that much of a monstrosity, which, again, we've made, and here's the thing, we've been making, almost since its inception, the Mortal Kombat references. If Matanza has no qualms about making you bleed that much, like, are we going to see him, if he ever does compete, like, in the ring, win by ref stoppage or win a certain way? Or is he ever going to win a match, but it's not going to matter because all of his opponents are, like, dead or just bleeding on the verge of death? Like, this just adds a whole nother dimension to Matanza as just an entity of just pure destruction and animality that I don't even know how to handle it. Like, if we really believe that Muertes is unstoppable, again, I have to ask, because I did in the preceding segment, what the hell does that make Matanza? Because you could stack, at this point, the entire Lucha Underground roster against that thing. And yes, I'm calling Matanza a thing, because I don't even know how to classify it anymore. And it may not even matter. And that's just mind-blowing, okay? I thought all three of them were going to be sacrificed. The idea that they choose one of the three to give to Matanza, I wonder if he's just going to pick them off one by one, because now they're just going to try and do, as two people, try and get back on track, and they keep failing, and then we just don't see these guys anymore. That was another nice little twist, but man. And again, we have to ask the question, too, before it loses my mind. I mean, Angela Fong thinks she's ready to take on that thing. What's going to happen when they collide? It's going to be crazy. Oh, man.
I don't even know, brother. I don't even know.
I don't even know what to say to it. Like, what do you say about what we just saw? Because I've never seen anything like that. And this was a segment, if you've heard Ashton say before, because I know you've said it quite a few times, Ashton, even most recently, I think like 2 episodes back. This isn't a wrestling show. It's a show about a wrestling promotion. This scene, I think, really epitomizes that, because you never see this on, like, a wrestling show.
Yeah, like when somebody gets
And,
written off in wrestling, they get injured or they get a bone broken or something separated. They literally killed Bael.
yeah, like, you know that something is at its most violent in wrestling, or at its most, oh man, hands over mouth, when a neck brace gets involved. There's no brace for when your face gets eaten off. Not
Yeah.
that I know of. Okay? So,
I
like,
don't think they make I don't think they make face braces.
no, they do not, okay? And that's just the thing, like, neck brace? I ate this guy's face off. What are you gonna do for him? The best we can do is a closed casket. That's it. And that's, pretty much how you answer that. Uh, like, I love it. I love that. And again, it doesn't seem, and that's the crazy thing too, it doesn't seem cheesy. Not once during that scene did I say, oh, Lucha Underground, really? You're really going to do that? Like, I never got a feeling of cartoonishness or hokiness, because I feel like they've built up Matanza in such a way. I mean, the guy's behind bars, so you know that there's something really different about him, even from the Muertes or the Hernandezes of the world, when they can roam free among men.
Yeah,
So
that's like, what is he?
I don't know. And here's the thing: if Cueto is related to Matanza, what does that make the family? Like,
What does that make
what's
Cueto himself?
is Cueto even human? Like, he takes on a human form, but are we going to find that he has his own mythos?
Oh God, this
I
is dude. Lucha Underground, man. Like, I feel like Vanna White right now, just holding my hands up, like, Lucha Underground, everybody.
Ashton, when was the last time that you and I'm asking this sincerely, with like an NXT, Aurora, whatever, like our minds were racing this much with possibility?
No,
'Cause I can't
never.
remember.
The closest
Never.
we ever come was deciding whether John Cena was going to turn heel or not, which he never does, so it was pointless anyway.
Exactly. Like, I've never had my mind race like this. Like, why didn't I think before, weeks ago, to ask, is Dario Cueto even human? And now I'm starting to ponder that, because we know they're brothers. So, like, what the hell is this family? What the hell is anybody? I think I even asked a
Well, I
conversation.
think that the question that needs to be answered before you even start asking that about Dario Cueto is Matanza human?
No, I don't believe
Well,
it.
yeah, but you say that, but we haven't gotten any definitive proof of it.
I don't care what they show me, man. There is something wrong there, man.
I just
Like,
imagine you watching the scene where he literally just eats Bale's head off. And next thing you know, I turn around and John is just cowering over in the fetal position in a corner, rocking back and forth, going to his happy place.
I know, it's like, John, you okay? Fine. And just like not even English right
Yeah.
now. It's crazy. But, and again, like, I love the idea that I'm getting ahead of myself. Normally it's a bad thing when you're like doing all these jumping off points, but Lucha Underground is playing such a masterful game right now with their story. You don't know what this temple is. You don't know who Cueto
That
is.
is another good question to ask. What exactly is this temple? Like, is this temple literally just a front for the holding cell of Matanza? Like, is the whole thing built around that cell?
Did or maybe, and I know it's kind of a stretch, but again, like I told you, Lucha Underground makes my mind race. Maybe Dario Cueto, because the family he came from, he came upon a certain property, knew things about it, and then he built his whole organization, Lucha Underground, on that property, knowing it would be gods and this and that, and he would have that extra influence. I don't know. Like, how did Dario Cueto even come into this to begin with? It's just so many
Where did Dario
questions.
Cueto get his money?
Uh, who are their parents? Who's the
Do they
father?
have parents?
Do they have parents? I mean, dude, come on. I mean, I don't even know if they have parents, because I want to say, well, they have to have a mom, but how do you birth something like Matanza? Like, how is something like that born? And I'm asking that sincerely. Like, is it, a parenthood kind of thing, or was it just something else? Or when he says brothers, are we even thinking about it too literally in a biological sense? Maybe it's another sense. Maybe it was some kind of weird blood oath or something. I don't
Oh
know.
my god. That's such a great freaking loophole, dude. You're a genius.
I'm just saying, like, maybe we're taking it too literally. And by that I mean me, because I know you haven't like gone as crazy, but maybe I'm taking it too literally with the whole brother thing and just thinking, oh, it's purely biological. Hell no! Do you know where the hell we are? Like, it could be a blood oath or
Oh
some
my
kind of ritual.
god, dude! I think what it really comes down to is we need to stop speculating so much and just tune in next week.
Yeah, we do. We just got to. We still got one more segment, so let's get to it. High spots and low shots.
Let's make this quick, brother.
My low shot's Fenix. How's that for quick? The guy got pretty much murdered tonight. He got powerbombed through a building.
Oh, that's adorable that your low shot got pretty much murdered because Bael, my low shot, got literally murdered.
He has no face.
Or head, I'm assuming.
Oh my god. And you know what? Because I'm in such a good mood after this episode, you know who my honorary high spot is? Everybody who has the competence to tune into this program every week.
Yeah.
Because you are spoiled. I am going to come out and say...
every one of us.
I was even going to say, like, you, me, and everybody who listens to our reviews and watches the show, you are spoiled. So if you are not appreciating this right now, I highly suggest you start doing so, because I have never seen anything like this in my life.
Yeah, I just made like a long, drawn-out post on Pwitoff and Reddit about how we're in like the golden era of WWE women's wrestling right now. It's just that it's in NXT with Bayley and Becky and Sasha and Charlotte and Emma and all these great women. I'm pretty sure we're in a golden age of pro wrestling, period, because of the fact that Lucha Underground exists.
Exactly. I mean, what else do you say to that?
I mean, Lucha Underground exists. TNA is getting canceled. ROH is getting a television spot on Destination America. All is right with the world.
It is. Life's good right now. But now for my legit high spot, because again, I'm just in such a good mood. You know what? I have to. My high spot's Matanza, because
Jesus,
he got to feed tonight.
Oh god, yeah, I guess he did, didn't he?
That monster's been behind bars. He's probably been salivating for something, and he enjoyed that meal, because when he doesn't care where the blood goes, Matanza had the best night of all of us, because he finally got to strike fear in the hearts of all of us without even showing his damn face. He's the high spot.
Yeah, well, I mean, the way you sold that made it seem like the best high spot possible, but I'm going to try. My high spot is Muertes. I think that makes a little sense, too, because not only is he back, but to quote Eric Bischoff's old theme song, he's better than ever, and he's dominant, and he just destroyed somebody who previously beat him in what seemed like the simplest of ease. It's like he barely even broke a sweat dominating Fenix. He powerbombed him through a roof. He stared into his eyes as he put him to sleep. Mil Muertes wins the night.
I can't believe these two are under the same roof.
And then you toss Hernandez into the mix. Good lord.
And Hernandez is a beast, but
it's like a Pokemon evolution. Hernandez evolves into Mil Muertes, who evolves into Matanza and proceeds to rip the Pokeballs apart of anyone that gets in his way.
Just tell me, Lucha Underground, that there's nobody stronger than Matanza, because if you do, oh my god.
Dario Cueto is secretly stronger than his brother.
Oh my god. And you know what? I could believe it. You laugh after that, but I could believe it.
He undergoes a Stephen King's It-esque transformation into a gigantic spider monster and kills everyone.
You know what? Game over. I figured it out. Marty the Moth is going to save us all.
Yes!
He's the secret to saving us all.
I would be so happy if that happened.
He goes up to Matanza's bars. He's like flapping his arms a little bit. He's breathing whatever the hell he's breathing. My ancestors.
Aztec pride, brother. Aztec pride.
Oh man, look everybody. It's Matanza. Oh my god, my face.
He literally turns into Mothra.
Oh my god, what is happening?
The old Godzilla monster, you know what I'm talking about?
No, but you know what? Dude, Lucha Underground could do anything at this point, and I'm just along for the ride. I can't even say anything anymore, so you know what? What a great freaking episode. Ashton, before I take us home, do you have anything else you want to say about anything?
Not to say, but I'm about to send you an image of Marty the Moth's true form.
Oh my god. Oh, wait, you guys gotta hear me react to this. Oh my god. And the crazy thing is, I could see Matanza take a wing in each hand and just rip it off. Like, It ain't gonna matter. If you people...
Matanza is literally Godzilla.
I mean, let me just say this to every member of the Lucha Underground roster, because Ashton, you said you have nothing more to say. So here's how I'm going to close out before I formally take us home. If anybody on the Lucha Underground roster, and yes, that includes you, Black Lotus, thinks that you're going to stop Matanza after I literally just saw him eat a man's face, I can't even muster the laugh to indicate how pathetic that is. So have fun with that, because I'm glad to be all the way here away from bumfuck nowhere. So with that said, this has been Lucha Underground. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton. Guys, be sure to comment and subscribe on YouTube. What was your favorite moment from Lucha Underground this week? I mean, just that straightforward. We had so many great segments tonight. What do you think of Johnny Mundo working heel? Do you think anybody can stop Matanza? And yes, I will pose that question seriously. Take the conversation over to Pweetoff, an amazing pro wrestling group on Facebook. Lots of Lucha Underground fans over there as well, if you want to converse with them. But if you want to keep the conversation to myself and my cohort and commentary here, Ashton's got you covered. He made a TWitWoW subreddit. Always cool to see comments coming from there. And after that, I mean, we'll see you again for our NXT review, where Bailey finally looks to put an end to her beef with Emma as they go one-on-one. Will Bailey get a measure of redemption, or will Emma finally reach Bailey's dark side? I'm sure it's not any darker than Matanza, though, not even close. Until then, guys, tune in and peace out.